Roger that. Camera Ace. We're gonna do a Coke commercial.
Oh, you know what? Before we have to figure out where to direct the dialogue to. So we probably should maybe address each other.
Look at each other.
Because yeah, if we're looking at different places in the editing, if somebody's looking over there, like Judge Judy, you never know.
So whoever's speaking, everybody will look at them.
Yeah, it's like a casual conversation.
Yeah,
We're gonna pay attention.
It's like about the AC.
The
So
cameras.
we'll talk amongst ourselves, I think, instead of directing it that way. And that way,
Yeah,
it'll
the
be
cameras
easier.
aren't even there,
Yeah.
so we're just.
And then there's that one there, and then if like Travis is talking, just you pick up that if you're out of the shot on that one. You're in a wide shot, but again, I can edit that out, and then you can cover them. With that handheld, we'll just pass that around. And,
You want, we okay then for the introduction?
yeah, I just, it's, here's the, the zoom aspects, getting wider and the whole
Similar to
thing.
mine.
That switch right there is the, on the power button. You just push that in, push it on.
Let me get it tight on Stoney for the intro.
Yeah, and, let's see.
Do you think the AC is going to get in the way with noise?
No, it's
should be
not that
okay.
bad.
Yeah, it's pretty quiet.
Okay.
I can do it sound deadener too in editing. Okay, so that's the on button.
Ooh, hello.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Can I have to look
I'm
up
so
those?
pretty.
You're so pretty. See, we were just singing out here.
Yeah.
My girls were, I'm so crampy, I feel crampy and bloated and fat. Da, 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 da. Singing about menstrual cycles. So.
This is the.
Yeah, and that's on film too.
Yeah, that's
You
on.
can put
That's
that
the
in.
red one there is on off,
Yeah. Okay.
and I mean that's record. That's on off, and then there's your zoom.
Okay.
Okay. Let me. Okay, we are rolling. I think is that a red circle? I can't.
Yep.
Okay.
Top right, you mean?
There it is. Okay.
And I'm going.
Okay.
All right, rolling here.
All right. Hello, welcome to A Warrior's Wisdom. Today, we're gonna, number one, celebrate, 10 years of the aftermath of 9/11. But instead of a group of guys getting together that are gonna cry or yell and scream about what's going on, we actually got a group of us together to try to figure out, how do we make the world a better place? How do we make it a safer place? And so we collected a group of our friends. We're going to introduce ourselves one at a time. So welcome to A Warrior's Wisdom, 9/11, 2011. 10 years after the fact.
Okay. Now cut. You have to step out now. We have to redo it for that wide one.
For that one?
Because to get the wide shots, that's the thing we didn't think about on that entry.
Oh, yeah,
That's a
good.
good opening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was
so,
that okay?
It was perfect. Yeah. Just do it again.
Sucked.
Word for word.
That's the hard part. Right?
Fantastic.
All right.
Here we
Rolling.
go. Welcome to A Warrior's Wisdom. Today, we're celebrating the 10-year anniversary of 9/11. Some of us decided a while back, instead of crying about 9/11, instead of getting upset about 9/11, perhaps it's our job to educate people about what's going on in the world today, 10 years after the fact. So we got a collective of warrior wisdom together, and we're going to sit down and talk about how do we solve this problem of lack of security, or how do we build a mindset that people in the world have to be responsible for themselves and collectively responsible for each other. So welcome to A Warrior's Wisdom. And we'll start out with an introduction of who we are, what our expertises are, and I guess we'll start at one end of the line and work to the other. Nate Hill is on the couch over there. Is the gentleman in the comfortable place of the room. So Nate, if you want to look into the camera and just kind of give us an idea of who you are.
Hello, I'm Nate Hill. I'm an FCS instructor. I've been with 200 Radio Naldo for over 6 years. I have experience in judo, jiu-jitsu, Thai boxing, JKD, Western boxing. I'm looking to start a program to help others achieve their goals in life. That's basically it. I'm a martial artist, family man. I like to do a lot of stuff at home and take care of my daughter and hang out, basically.
What is FCS?
FCS is Filipino Combat Systems. It's a bunch of different arts all put together by 200 Radio Naldo. He took the best stuff that he liked at all his arts, and it's 14 black belts, and he took the best that he liked out of every single one and he put it into Filipino Combat Systems, as you can see, it's more than one system combined. So that's FCS.
And Mr. Mark Edward Cody, or should I say Dr. Mark Edward Cody.
Stoney.
And if you would please just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, those of you that have watched The Warrior's Wisdom before know me as Stoney's co-host. We've been doing, I believe this is our 6th episode of The Warrior's Wisdom. We've been trying to do this video blog, video TV show to enlighten people about what the warrior community, the martial art community has to offer to the average person. My background, I'm a martial arts instructor. I've been training for about 30 years. I teach Wateroo Karate, which is a form of karate and jiu-jitsu from Japan. I've been training with Ray Diamaldo and Filipino Combat Systems from the beginning. Ray and I have known each other for over 30 years now. I'm the author of 4 books on the martial arts and on martial philosophy. Bushido, a modern adaptation of the ancient code of the samurai. Filipino Combat Systems, Wateroo Karate Jiu-Jitsu, and A Warrior's Wisdom with Maurice Crum.
And to my right again, we're moving this way, my buddy Travis Devita, and a very different human being with a very specific skill set. So thanks for being here.
Thanks, Tony. Yeah, I've been in the martial arts for over 25 years. I hold instructor ranks in 3 different Filipino martial arts, as well as Taekwondo, and have extensive experience in Wing Chun Kung Fu, as well as Aikido. In addition to the martial arts, the other part of my life is working with exotic animals, which I've been doing for most of my life. I've had extensive hands-on training with big cats, bears, crocodilians, venomous reptiles, birds of prey, and various other sorts of wildlife. I've worked orangutans, chimpanzees in the entertainment field. I've trained animals for film and television work, as well as training them for education programs, and working hands-on with some of these major predatory animals. I've gotten a new perspective on their thought processes and how they function as compared to human thought processes and how humans function, and oftentimes how similar those can be. So that's been my experience.
Cool. My name is Stoney, or my friends call me Stoney. I have black belts in 4 different systems of martial arts. I have a 1st degree black belt in Kodokan Judo. I have a 3rd degree black belt in Ruka Kempo Karate, 3rd degree black belt in Shotokan Karate, and I'm a 5th Dan in Ishi-Do Karate. Ishi-Do Karate is a system that we created about 1994, and it's a collective, again, of all the martial arts that I've studied, everything that I've been exposed to when it comes to self-defense. Along with that, I'm a certified life coach, success coach, certified hypnotherapist, and just a certified survival of being a different kind of human being in this world that we look at today that seems to be a perfect place because of the smoke and mirrors that we live in. But the reality of life is something that we're going to try to pass on to you. And so today, we're here just, I'm here just to be part of a board, a group of guys that want to make a difference in the world. So thanks for tuning in. Jeremiah, what's up?
My name's Jeremiah Jerrosick. Spent 9 years total Army time. I started life 18 years old in the 82nd Airborne Division, 2nd and 504 PIR. Worked in heavy weapons there, and then I got out, joined the National Guard, and then what we're talking about today, September 11th happened. And then I went directly to the airport to kind of get things going again. And so I've seen this thing from the beginning to the end of as far as wars and stuff like that, and everything we've done since today happened. Also did scout reconnaissance in Iraq, so I was kind of on the ground where these guys differ, you know, with all their training. I was actual soldier on foreign ground, and that's my perspective, and that's all I got, I guess.
That's good enough, buddy.
For sure.
Jeff, welcome, buddy.
It's an honor to be here amongst my peers, and it's a great opportunity to do something we can to, of course, to help the world in the situation we're in. My background, basically, I started when I was 11 years old. I was more of an intellectual kid than a physical one, believe it or not, at that time. And, you know, I got kind of tired of getting beat up, and I got beat up in the homeroom one day for telling a joke somebody didn't like, and he punched me in the mouth, and I went home, and I was looking at the newspaper and saw an advertisement, "Fear no man, learn super jiu-jitsu, kung fu, karate." And I said, well, that's free, and I actually conned my neighbor's dad into taking us down and signed up, and it was Puklan Jamindi Chuan Fa at the New Brighton Armory in Pennsylvania under Sifu Willie Wetzel. And at that time, this is probably 1963, and again, I'm 11 years old at that time, and I just took to it like a duck to water, and it kind of saved my life in that sense because I had found a direction in my life to really believe in. So I pursued that training for about 10 years in Puklan Jamindi Chuan Fa, and I earned the title of Pendecker Kun Tao in that system. And then, of course, Bruce Lee came along and changed my perspective yet again when I read his article, Liberate Yourself from Classical Karate. And that kind of helped me look at the evolution of tradition versus modern application. That's where it started, that quest. And then I was teaching Kung Fu in a boxing gymnasium in Rochester, and a girl that would come in to train with me lived down the road from myself and my sister's best friend, a few years older than me. And I was teaching traditional Puklan self-defense, and I'd often encourage her to take the self-defense course, and she just wanted to work out and do cardio, a little good for Billy, her husband, grew up right beside me. And I don't have the time or the money, Jeff, to take self-defense. And 2 months after the conversation, she and her husband were brutally murdered by a serial killer named Edward Surratt. She was beaten to death and raped, and he was shot point blank with a shotgun. And that haunted me for a long, long, long time. I moved to Florida and opened a Kung Fu school in Fort Lauderdale and was teaching there, and it was going pretty well. And then a student of mine ended up getting a SAG card doing stunts in a movie, and I found out about the stunt industry and how to get into that. And I got an agent, got my headshots done in the first picture I did with Dogs of War, and that was thrilling for me, and I was hooked. But over the years, 30 years now as a stuntman and a fight choreographer and a stunt coordinator, we're constantly replicating violence and very safe, and make it as realistic as we can and safe. So I thought that's a great blend, you know, the passion, the creative violence of filmmaking and the safety and the analysis of it, and coupled that with my other passion, which of course is martial arts, which now become a combat science for me. And that started putting a lot of, you know, evolutionary ideas in my head. And one day working out with my son, Thomas Lee Moldovan, who my system is named after, in the garage, he was 16 at the time, he pointed a broomstick at my head, told me to get on my knees, and I did. And he said, "What can you do now, Dad?" And I didn't have an answer. 27 years of studying Puklan Jamindi Chuan Fa and ninjutsu, and reading a lot Jeet Kune Do theory and Wing Chun and applying all these things. We started looking and searching for an answer to that question, and that was in '96, and we're still evolving and still searching. We kind of pick up extreme disarm situations where generally it's been interpreted, you can't move now, there's nothing here you can do. That's where we like to start, and that's the thrilling part of it, is the constant evolution, and then paring it down to the few basic tools that you need to put in the toolbox, and the common sense will dictate, you know, what choices you use in that violent encounter. And so that's the passion. We work with a lot of survivors of violent encounters. We've interviewed predators, and we try to understand predator psychology, prey psychology, etc. So then we can demystify it, you know, for the people that we train, and help them to better understand it and control it, and recognize how to use fear as a tool instead of a detriment. And you know, the wonderful thing about you know, joining with these gentlemen in this pursuit is it's a collective. We all have such a diversified background with the same goal, and that's to save lives and to help. We want to put fangs on the sheep, and the only way we can possibly do that is we have to wake the sheep up first, because they're very content to graze and be protected by the watchdogs, which are us. And instead of that, we'd like to give them the responsibility. As Stoney said in his earlier opening, we have to somehow encourage them, everyone, to take the responsibility of self-protection on themselves, because we can't be with you all the time. The cops and the Army can't be with you all the time. And your only shot, honestly, to survive a violent encounter is you're the first line of defense, and you better be ready for it. And you can ignore it and hope it goes away, or you can prepare for it and cope with the reality of it, and that's what we're here for.
I think what we're going to do here is we're just going to have a casual conversation. That's what a warrior's wisdom is. It's a casual conversation. And it would be great to have each one of these people, and we will in the future have each one individually, because we want to give you that one-on-one time. Before we start, we want you to understand, if you don't call us, we can't help you. If you don't email us, we can't help you. If you have a question that you need answered and we don't have the answer, we're going to research it. We're going to find the answer for you. That's what we're here for. Understand the most important part of all this, and I took the weekend to really get myself wrapped around what we're going to do here. Violence is real, and it's as real as somebody looking at you the first time and saying, you know what, Stoney, you have cancer. Until you're confronted with that, you don't take action. So collectively, we're sitting here and we're thinking to ourselves, how do we get you people involved? You know, do I have to go to your house and shoot your child to get you involved? Do I have to look at you and say, you know what, Nate, you have cancer, before you finally take a stand against cancer? Do I have to go to your house and turn one of these guys loose with a bear, right? I mean, turn Quinn loose on him before he finally realizes, you know what real violence is? It's that bear attacking me. And how do I put that mentality into your minds, you know? So, could there be a better group? No. You've got people that have been involved in martial arts and self-defense or self-protection. You've got people that have been training individuals for X amount of years, in my case over 30 years, how to do the impossible. From breaking an inch board, to breaking concrete, to eating fire, to walking on hot coals, to standing in a cage with a bear. I mean, so, and we got thinking about it, we said, what if we bring all these people together and present what real violence is? What is real violence? What does it look like? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? In your world, it don't get any better than where you've been. And thank God you made it back, you know, because you can pass the knowledge on. The rest of us have a concept of what it is. The rest of us understand what it is. We understand, in our point of view, what might be the answer for you. But everybody learns in a different way. Some of you are going to learn from Mark's educational process. He's, I tell you all the time, he's this guy that remembers everything. But yet he has to call me on Thursday and say, remind me about our meeting on Sunday. So it's kind of cool. Because you made me realize you're just a man. Because sometimes I don't realize. Because you're so smart, you know? And we want you to understand.
The technical term is idiot savant.
We want you to understand, we all have these expertise, these particular little things that we belong to that will make a difference in your life, but you have to make the choice to change you. I can't change you. Don't wait until you're in the cage with Travis's bear to change. Don't wait until somebody ships you off overseas and hands you a gun and says, young man, now you have to kill. Don't wait until you lose your son, you know, to decide, you know, I'm going to make a difference in the world. And I'm going to touch on a lot of things that are going to maybe poke you in the eye, but at the same time, when I'm poking you in the eye, that's the emotion they need to see.
Absolutely.
Right.
The problem that we're facing is complacency.
Right.
10 years after 9/11, what lessons have we learned from 9/11? Absolutely nothing. We let our guard back down. The patriotism, the camaraderie, the sense of oneness is all already gone. It didn't last very long. Complacency is a problem of any civilization. If you look at the fall of any civilization, be it the Roman Empire or Western civilization as it now appears in 21st century America, it shows time and time again the one thing that no society can long endure is success. We have complacency because we have success. Most of us in the world, especially in the United States of America, have food, we have shelter, we have entertainment, we have what the Romans called panem et circenses, we have bread and circuses, and that's a very difficult thing to wake people up from, the idea that it may not always be like this. Bad times may be just around the corner.
And adversity is definitely the best teacher. You're not going to change until you have to change. That's the problem. We make the largest changes in our life when we reach our own personal bottom. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think there's an evolutionary path in life, you know, that leads us to that point, but sometimes that needs to be galvanized so you recognize it. And I know that the experience losing that neighbor, a friend of mine who I could have helped if I would have had the right information for her at the time, it's relevant. I don't have the time or the money for, it takes a long time to get, efficient with a lot of traditional approaches. And there's a lot of civilians out there and people that don't have that time and luxury. So that's kind of what put me on that thought train, and then realizing after 27 years of studying everything, I didn't have an answer for a modern threat like that. It was, the execution style shotgun. I said, well, I better figure this out. I got to give my son the truth, the answer. Where is it?
Isn't it a personal choice though too? Don't they have to make the choice?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that's the
And
thing.
you're right. They wait till after, they lose a loved one or a friend. I had an instance 2 months ago. A dear friend of mine, I've known 30 years, he knows what I've been doing, and his wife for 30 years. And he called me up on the phone one day. And a friend of his got stabbed to death, in an altercation in a bar. He was sitting beside a guy arguing with a bartender over a bar tab. And the guy picks out a steak knife out of here and sticks it right in his friend's throat. Killed him right on the spot. And 3 guys overwhelmed the guy, took him down. He stabbed 4 of them. And then finally somebody said, hit him with a bar stool, and then, they took him down. But it took that to get them to come to me. And it happens all the time that way. Rape victims study after the rape if they survive it. And what we're trying to get across is, folks, predator picks time and place, always. They're never going to give you time to get to your weapon or get to your pepper spray and all the other things you think make you safe. Your body and your brain, you train that first. Everything else is an accessory. Learn how to detect threat, how to recognize a threat, not escalating. Knowing violence and how it escalates is important. The psychology is also important in any relevant defensive system. You got to understand that psychology, your psychology, their psychology, and how to manipulate that to your favor. And that's something that I think organically we just always have examined amongst us in different ways.
And they don't understand savage, primal instinct of a predator. And that's why when we first sat down, I was so glad to have you in the room, because if anybody understands savage, primal, I gotta eat and I'm gonna eat you to survive, you have to. I mean, when you get in the cage with a bear.
Oh yeah, and I've got the scars to prove it.
Tell us a
So-
little bit about predator
Yeah.
behavior in the wild. What are the characteristics of a predator? How does it hunt? What is its mindset, its mentality, as opposed to its prey?
The interesting thing that I found with all of the major your apex predators, the ones that are the top of the food chain within their environment, be it crocodiles, be it grizzly bears, Kodiaks, jaguar, wherever they're at, is their focus. When they decide to take an action, they're committed 100% to it. There's no thought of, I'm going to fail.
What the samurai would call resoluteness of purpose.
Yeah, there's
single-mindedness in their purpose.
exactly. There's nothing in them that says, I'm not going to succeed. They're 100% focused, and in their mind, they're going to complete the action they're about to embark upon, and almost to a fault. As an example, the #1 killer of Florida panthers in the state of Florida is vehicles. There's more Florida panthers killed along Alligator Alley by vehicles than are killed by other Florida panthers or other predators. And the main reason for this is when they get focused on their prey, like let's say they're going after a rabbit or something, their prey decides they're going to cut across the road. They're so focused on it that there's no concept of what's around them, because in their mind the only thing that exists is the animal they're going after.
Combat tunnel vision.
Tunnel vision.
Yeah.
But the neat thing about that, and the way I look at it with human predators, is at some point a human predator will adapt to that, where when they have their prey in sight, they will focus 100%. But before that, they are aware of their environment, they're aware of their surroundings, they're looking for, is this still a good opportunity? Is there someone around that's going to see this happen? Is there something? But once they focus, they're committed to it, and they don't see that. So I think that's a unique opportunity for the time to get them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because
Good point.
if you're, let's say you're acting in a pair, if you can throw something out there and let them focus on it and wait until they get to that point where that tunnel vision's focused and they know what they're going to do and they're going to act on it, then you have somebody else with your back that knows they're not paying attention anymore, and you're able to intercept them.
So their focus is, and is it because their focus is not, I've got to eat to survive? It's, I want this focus.
Yeah.
You
Or
know,
need this is also
Yeah.
critical. Drug addiction, there's a difference between a drug addict's agenda, and a thief's agenda, and a sexual opportunist agenda or sexual predator agenda. And part of the I think the knowledge base has to be a recognition of what each of these typical predatory behaviors, what do they want? And then that will help us figure out a way of defeating them, because obviously if they're holding you a weapons point at that moment, it's because they need something from you. And until you comply, they need that. They need you to comply. So, but when you do comply, that's where it becomes dangerous. 50-50 chance of survival if you give the predator the choice. So I like what it ties in with what Travis was just saying is the human predator's agenda is on the thing he wants or needs at that moment. And oftentimes the people say, well, what do you have to do if he's standing out of reach with a weapon pointing a gun at you? So well, you got to lure him into your zone by offering the bait that will entice him to come into your zone. You can provoke a hunting reflex by cowering, anticipating pistol whipping or anger to come in closer to you. Or you can feign compliance and, here's my wallet, and kind of stumble toward him, have him focus on the thing he wants, car keys, whatever it is. Boom, that you throw that down there, and when his thoughts going there, that's when you take him out. So it just ties in so beautifully.
Okay, and how do you develop, the trick is, how do you take that sheep and how do you tell them, when was, and this is an interesting discussion for you, when was the time different for you when you finally realized, I don't want to go in that building, but I got to go in that building?
Oh, that's a tough one, Stoney. It's pride and honor always focused in a lot with what I do. I mean, that's just, it's like, well, I may go in this building and die, but I'm going to do it anyway. And when I'm tying into what Travis was saying, you do get fixated on stuff. Even something, I brought this out, this is a small GPS unit, even something as simple as land nav, I'm paying attention to this. I'm starting to lose, and I'm pretty good, guys, y'all know me, y'all all know me, I'm pretty good. I still keep some, but I'm still losing more focus on this than my environment. And it's just day one stuff, looking at a compass, anything, navigation, anything like that, going into a building, which there could be hostiles in there. Now you're focused on that, but then they could be right behind us, what we know. And then on the same token, we'd lay in ambush all night in Iraq. And they wouldn't even know we were there. They'd be like, they'd wake up, getting their humans ready to go and everything. We'd be like, hey, it's a spot there, fish on there. And they'd be like, oh, God. You got a whole squad just materializing out of nothing. It's pretty insane, because you don't realize that we're all oblivious sometimes. We're focused on a pretty girl, like a car running, a crash, something's an auto accident.
Focused on the animal getting killed as the car comes across the road.
Well, you're describing the exact same behavior that Travis was talking about.
Yeah, same thing.
The other day,
Yeah,
Travis
it's
and I were
exactly the
talking
same.
about that.
But
Basically, you've got two types of creatures. You've got the canine, and you've got the sheep. The canine may be a wolf that preys on the flock, or the canine may be a guard dog or a sheep dog that protects the flock. But the predator mentality, be it focused to public good or to public harm, is basically the same. And what we're looking at, for, as you say, putting the fangs on the sheep, the basic premise from the art of war, know your enemy and know yourself and you will always be victorious. We have to teach people to learn to think like a predator so you can defend yourself against one.
it's as simple as when he started to study, he studied the moves, but he didn't study why he was doing the moves. He just wanted to be part of that group.
Sure.
So now you're part of the group. Now you're not doing just the moves anymore. What changed?
The combat aspect of it, using it as, what are we doing? What is all this?
But you see the distractions now, and you laugh at the distractions.
Why are we doing these crazy things still?
Exactly. Why aren't we just moving through it, right?
Right.
And it's like moving at meter instead of moving outside the meter or in between the meter. Or,
Take the drill to the next level. Why are we still on level 1 when you've been doing it 20 years and you're still doing these same things, but you're not doing what you're supposed to really be doing? Getting ready telegraphs, etc.
How long did it take you to learn that? 2 years? 3 years?
To really
finally look at it and say, what the hell
probably
is
like
that?
4 years to really okay, what are we doing? What is the seriousness of everything that we do, and how not taking it as so much training, but as fighting applications, or thinking everything as a fighting mentality. Like everything that I do with the drill turns into an application of what I'm really gonna do. And train as you fight like you train. Taking basic training principles and then taking it to the next level, not just staying at the beginner's level, but taking it to sparring, harder sparring, even harder sparring, etc.
But it's a place you voluntarily have to go.
Right.
And what you
A lot of people don't want to go there.
what you started to see was a lot of people living in the place because they were comfortable with it.
Right.
And,
Yeah,
And it
exactly.
changed. We were talking about how much that changed with the introduction. You got people from all over the world at the gathering. All over the world with the same mindset. We want to come and learn how to play with knives. Not play with them, how to make them function, how to work the knife. And in comes Jeff, you know, with a business card and a sharp knife, and everything changes. You know, holy shit, he's got a check. That's a real blade.
He pulled out a live blade, and everybody just like moved back.
And, you know, so, yeah, it was like everybody was holding their breath. Oh no, he's gonna cut his bloody hand. And they got the knife in his hand, and he's pushing down. I can see him, and I'm thinking, Jesus, don't let him bleed on the carpet.
I was
you know?
thinking the same thing.
And then, in all honesty, it was the moment that you held the blade after you cut the card, and you held the blade. Until then, it wasn't real, and you pointed it at the people in the room and said, "I'm going to let Travis hold this live blade to my neck." That's when everything changed. It's as simple as saying, "Stoney, you have cancer." It's as simple as saying, one of my kids got shot a couple weeks ago. A bad guy shot her through the door. She's a policewoman, and they shot her through the door, shot her in the hand, and shot her in the abdomen. She was walking to the door for a domestic violence call, you know? And the daughter had called and said, "Don't worry about it, go away, everything is okay." She was walking to the door because that's her job.
The local guy that got killed here Friday, local bar.
So, can it happen to you? What I want you to do is wait until it does, then call us, because we'll have some answers for you. And I'm being sarcastic. I get so upset. I wish you people could understand my passion. I'm 61 years old. I don't have a whole bunch of time left, and I feel like I'm leaving you out here alone. I'm one of those sheepdogs that's not going to be there anymore, and I have to leave you alone. I don't have any children of my own, but I have thousands of people like Travis and Mark and Nate and Jeremiah that are all part of my family. I consider you my family. I consider you people my family, and I'm Dad, I'm Grandpa, and I'm leaving you alone, and it pisses me off. I get upset about that because
this has been said that an intelligent person learns from their own mistakes, from their own trials, from their own tribulations. A wise person learns from somebody else's mistakes, trials, and tribulations. So that's what I think all of us want to get across here. Don't wait until you're a victim to start thinking about how you're going to keep from being a victim again. There's some basic things, some basic mental, physical, and spiritual things that you can learn, tools you can put in your toolbox that can keep things from happening to you. Don't wait until you're a victim before you take the time to sit down and just learn something as simple as situational awareness. In the martial arts, as Nate was talking about, we train again and again, over and over, the same drills. The Japanese martial arts, the samurai had a saying, kata no katachi. First you learn the form, then you learn the spirit of the form. So the idea of everything we're doing is not just like a Pavlovian response. If you do technique A, I respond with technique B. But learning conceptually how to defend yourself. And first and foremost, that comes down to awareness and preparedness. If you're aware of your situation, if you're looking around, if you're paying attention to what's going on, that in and of itself will make most predators go on to another prey, because they know you're just going to be too much trouble and they're going to go attack somebody else.
it's
Well,
a
Can we
physical.
comment one moment? I'm thinking, because when I was watching you, and I love the flow, keep the energy up. I like to move that camera over here, it's wide angle, because when you're talking to him, we're not seeing your face. And
Okay.
if the camera's here, if it opens it up wide enough.
Whatever you want to do.
And I think, yeah, so
Whatever you
just,
wanna
let's
Sure,
cut
fuck
yours
it up,
and cut
Jeff.
mine. Yeah, good stuff so far. I might
Anybody
just
need
take.
anything? Any water? Or?
Yeah, I love water.
Do we have any beverages?
Smoke break.
Smoke break? Yeah.
Hey, Travis.
Yeah.
Yeah, do we have a power outlet or something like a?
That I don't know.
That cord will reach.
Okay.
Just use the cord off mine, and use the brown cord off of mine for the extension, and on your camera, and leave mine right there, because mine doesn't need an extension.
Okay.
When we get
Okay.
back in session, I want to chime off of what Mark finished on.
I don't know what the hell anybody said. What I'm trying to show them is passion too, you know? Not just a bunch of guys.
And there's so much of that in this room. Thank God. Thank God. Because I'm so tired of being around people that don't care. And people that I've trained for years, Stoney, but no sense of appreciation or loyalty.
What you're going to
Tragic.
have in this room and with this collective is exactly what you've been looking for.
Absolutely. That's why I'm so thrilled to be here. And you've seen in my course, the healing since I met you, it's been tremendous.
Well,
And without that, my friend, I'd be a mess. I mean, I'm a mess, but I'm getting better.
I'm overwhelmed. And over this weekend, watching those two movies showed me one very, very, very important thing. And that is, people don't know what real violence is,
Oh, for sure.
so they're not afraid of it.
That's right. And they don't think it can happen to them.
Buffer them from everything that's real. They live in this space that nothing is real.
Yeah.
Nothing is real, and it can't happen to me. And it just bugs
They're
that
inert. They're immune to it and desensitized to it because of the constant diet of it in a like media sense. So the real violence doesn't affect them until it hits them.
Exactly
you know?
right. Well, it's like the doctor calling me and telling me I have cancer. I mean, it's that simple.
Yeah, I'm dealing with some of those. I got a big cancerous thing on my elbow. I got to get fixed and looked at and biopsy. But see how much nicer that's going to be.
Oh yeah.
Where's that?
Jeff is,
let's
Nate's right
see.
there on the end of the couch.
There's the couch.
And it will
Where is
widen
the
out a
couch?
little bit if you want.
I think I did. I think that's the widest. Yeah.
Well, we got the other camera coming here too, so.
Maybe it won't make any difference to that camera. Maybe if we just moved in all these chairs about.
Yeah, we can move.
Yeah, that'll. I think that way, and maybe get this a little bit deeper.
I thought we were filming against this wall, so.
Yeah, on those ones we are, but see, I've got that wide master there, and now from this angle we have a whole different way of doing it. And I think that'll.
Want to move?
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to my dad.
Yeah.
Is that going to be all right for me?
Yeah. Then we'll just have to put that chair in position after he gets in here.
We can move over. Well, I guess we're.
Yeah, we just. Let's see.
Want me to sit in the chair?
I
Why'd
got,
you sit in
I
there?
got that. I'm just trying to see where that's got to be to. Well, actually. Okay. Because this way, then all you guys will be in there, and that one will be on this, and he'll be in there.
Okay.
I think that might.
Let me move this one over just a little bit.
Oh damn! This thing's still recording.